Assalamu alaikum. We will be discussing AC generator today. So, in last class, we had discussed the EMF or current induced in a conductor when it is moved in a magnetic field. So, we can apply Fleming's right hand rule to see the direction of current in this conductor. Okay. Let me share one thing with you. Students sometimes share these rules, like mix up these rules, because in the topic of electromagnetism and in electromagnetic induction, we use right hand grip rule for magnetic field of a wire, then for the solenoid, and then here we are discussing Faraday's law, and then we discussed Fleming's left hand rule and Fleming's right hand rule. So you need to use some mnemonics here. So what I use for Fleming's left hand and right hand rule, first of all, left hand rule is for motor action, and right hand rule, Fleming's right hand rule is for generator action. And then the three components are FDI, force, magnetic field current. I use the symbol B here for magnetic field, that is related to magnetic field, not exactly. So F is force, B is magnetic field, and I is current. So we can use this for generator action. So I will be discussing with you that what will happen if we place a rectangular coil in a magnetic field. So you leave this part first. We'll just discuss the rectangular coil right now. So that rectangular coil, it's been colored here, half in red color and half in blue color. So we'll be considering this part of the coil. I can name it. That can be named A, B, C. For example, this one is A. This one is A, B, C, and D. So, for example, we have a setup where we can rotate this coil in that magnetic field. So this is center line around which this coil can rotate. For example, consider is the axis of rotation. So right now you can identify this coil A, B, C, D with this purple arrow shown that it can move anti-clockwise. Right now it's moving anti-clockwise. So if it's moving anti-clockwise, you can consider the direction of force on AB and CD. So blue is moving up and red is going down. So you can apply Fleming's right hand rule on it. Direction of magnetic field is north to south, force is upwards, and direction of current is given by the middle finger. So in wire CD, direction of current is D to C. That is D to C. Means away from the observer. And in wire AB, direction of current will be, because that is going on, direction of current will be B to A. Yes, B to A. So light color. So this is the direction of current in wire CD, D to C, and AB, B to A. So current is coming from D to A to this ring, and in CD current is coming from ring to D to C. Okay, so if you see the connections here, this red wire is connected to first ring and blue wire is passing through the first ring but not touching it, and it is touching to the second ring. Now you can give the direction of current, but here that direction of current is given, that is into first ring and out of second. So you can connect something here, you can connect a galvanometer, or you can connect a lamp here which will start working when we rotate this coil in the magnetic field. Now we need to have some further discussion that what will happen if this coil is horizontal, if this coil is vertical, and when it's switched sides, what will happen? So I'll discuss another slide for that. So at first we'll discuss for two horizontal positions. Like in this diagram A, the position of the coil is A, B, C, D. And in second diagram, that horizontal coil has flipped 180 degrees. So AB, which was earlier on left side, it will come to the right side, and CD, which was on right side, left side, it will go. Which was on right side, it will go to left side. So 180 degree flip, or it will invert. Second, I need you to identify the apparatus here. We have the presence of carbon brushes, which are sliding against the rings, and when the rings are rotating with the coil, the connection is not broken with the circuit. That's due to those carbon brushes. So actually, this is not the exact setup of a carbon brush. Carbon brush is placed in, uh, in a closed window with the help of a spring. And when something rotates and carbon brush is touching with it, so electric current keeps going, circuit is not broken. So I'll share in a picture that exact setup I'll share in some further slide. Now another difference is these slip rings. In DC motor, we had discussed a split ring where there were two half rings, and those half rings will change the direction of current after every half rotation. But here, these are known as slip rings. These are connected to the wires permanently, and these rings rotate with the wire. So rest of the circuit is not rotating. What's rotating, assembly what is rotating is coil and rings with it. Okay, so at first A, B, C, D, and rotation given here is clockwise. Clockwise means, I'll repeat that process once again. You can also apply it with me. So AB will be moving up and CD will be moving down. Changing the color. So you can apply Fleming's right hand rule, north to south, force upwards. Direction of current in AB is A to B. A to B. And for CD, you can see that force is downwards, so direction of current will be reverse. So direction of current is AB is A to B, and in CD is C to D. So it means direction of current here, the circuit will be like here it's going to the coil, here it is coming, so it will be like this. Direction of current will be like this. Okay. So if we put a galvanometer here, for example, I put a galvanometer here, so it will wait. If you put a galvanometer here, so that galvanometer will deflect needle will deflect to the left side. Okay. Now second diagram, that coil was rotated, being rotated in clockwise direction. So after 180 degree rotation, the left and the right wires part of the wire will switch. Now AB is moving downwards, and here CD is moving upwards. Previously, when AB was here, it was moving upwards and CD was moving downwards. Now direction of forces on the parts of the wires have changed. So AB is moving downwards. Now, if you apply Fleming's right hand rule to AB, so force downwards, and direction of current given is B to A. And for CD, it will be opposite. Direction of current is D to C. Now we'll find out the direction of current in this circuit. In this ring, you can see D to C for this ring. It means direction of current is into the ring, and here C direction of current is B to A to the ring, so direction of current will be this. So in this circuit, direction of current will be like this, and if I put a galvanometer here, that will deflect to the right side. So now you have seen that direction of current has changed when coil flipped 180 degrees, or when it took a half turn. So direction of current has changed. This is one thing. Second, when the coil is vertical, what happens then? So let me do. I will show another diagram for that. Yes, this one. Now, what happens when coil is vertical? Now, see, all three components have to be perpendicular to each other. FBI. Now, identify in this diagram that direction of force upwards, direction of magnetic field north to south or south to north, and then the direction. So all three are perpendicular to each other. So now if the coil is vertical, for example, let me draw a diagram on it. So I'll try to, for example, it's standing vertical here, like this. So now if it was being rotated clockwise, like this wire will be going this way and this wire will be going that way. So now you identify the direction of force and direction of magnetic field are in same direction. Both are in same direction. So when both are in same direction, then there will be no EMF induced in the coil when coil is vertical. So rate of change of magnetic flux will be zero in this case. I use an analogy here for the students that is if you have a door and you're trying to open that door, like suppose I'm trying to open that door. So this is the door and I'm applying the force perpendicular to the door. So if I apply the force here perpendicular, I'm able to open the door easily. That's why knobs are always connected at the end and force is applied perpendicular to the door. So if I start applying force along the door, so no matter how large force is applied, I will not be able to open the door because force will be applied around the door. So that's what happens here because I've listed that here when coil is in vertical position, cutting of magnetic field lines is minimum in vertical position. Magnetic field and direction of force both are parallel to each other in the same direction. So you can use the analogy for it that force being applied along the board. And we have the perfect scenario when the coil is horizontal, then force and direction of magnetic field both are perpendicular to each other and current can be induced in a direction perpendicular to both of them. Okay, so I have drawn a graph here for the position of the coil and the EMF induced. So if the position of the coil is vertical, EMF induced is zero. When a coil is horizontal, EMF induced is maximum. When coil is vertical, again it's zero. And when coil is 180-degree flipped, EMF is maximum, but in opposite direction. We have seen in our previous diagram that when coil flips 180 degrees, then EMF will be induced in opposite direction. So we have discussed 5 positions here, that is total 360 degrees rotation. In vertical positions, EMF is 0 and in horizontal position, EMF is maximum. But if it is flipped 180 degrees, then EMF will be opposite direction. So that's a more clear picture. You can see that graph is drawn for EMF against the rotation angle. 0 degrees, 90, 180, 270, and 360 degrees. So at 0 degrees, we have started the rotation from a vertical position. So in vertical position, EMF is labeled 0. In horizontal position, we got a maximum EMF value, and vertical again 0. In 180-degree flip horizontal, EMF is negative maximum, and again vertical back to the uh, initial position, that is 0. So you get you can call it a sinusoidal waveform, but that depends upon the position of the coil. If the position of the coil is horizontal, then your graph will be starting from the maximum value. So then we'll be discussing the factors which affect this induced EMF So when we are talking about induced EMF, then current depends upon the induced EMF. Uh, when we apply a potential difference across the circuit, current starts flowing. So when EMF induced current is up. So factors affecting induced EMF, first one is increasing the speed of the rotation of the coil. So that affects in two ways. We'll discuss that later. Second, increasing number of turns of the coil increases induced EMF. If exactly that is doubled, then induced EMF will be doubled. Third, increasing the magnetic field increases induced EMF. If magnetic field is doubled, then induced EMF will also double. And the last, winding the coil on a soft iron core will concentrate magnetic field lines of force through the coil. So that gives a stronger magnetic field. So induced EMF will increase in this case. Now coming to the first one, increasing the speed of the rotation of the coil. So we had seen in that observation also, lab observation, that when we increase the speed of rotation, then EMF induced is increased. If we double the speed, EMF induced is doubled. And there is one more thing that happens is when we double the speed of rotation, then time period halves. Let me draw a graph here. For example, you have this graph given to you, and this is the waveform provided. I guess I didn't mention that this graph can be plotted for EMF against rotation angle. It can be plotted against time period. Time period for one complete rotation will be T. For half of that will be half of time period, and for quarter of that will be T upon 4, and for 3/4 of the time period. So this graph can be drawn for EMF against rotation angle like 0, 90 to 70, 180 to 70, and 360 degrees, and it can also be drawn for EMF against time. So one rotation will take one time period, one complete time. So if we increase the speed of rotation, if we exactly double it, then what will happen that EMF induced will be doubled. Like if we are getting this value of maximum EMF, now we'll be getting double the value of induced EMF on the upper and on the lower side too. And time period will be half. If wave one complete waveform was being completed in T, now it will be completed here. So our waveform will be like this. So I hope you get it. We can be asked to draw another waveform on the existing layout. So we can do that. That is specifically for doubling the speed of rotation. Okay, moving ahead, we are going to discuss the next model of generator, that is dynamo. Now, the dynamo is more practical form of a generator. Here we um, keep the coil fixed and we move the magnet inside that coil. So let me share with you. No, let me draw diagram for that. So what do we have? We have a soft iron U-shaped material, and we wind some wire on it. That's a simple winding. It doesn't happen like that in practical. So this is a wire with two ends AB, for example, and we have a magnet inside it. This can be a magnet here. That magnet can be connected to a rod, and then at the top it can be connected to a disc which can rotate clockwise or anti-clockwise. Okay, then it can have a body. So now when we rotate the disk, magnetic field or the magnet rotates inside the coil. So to differentiate between two models, this is fixed coil and the previous one was moving coil generator. This is fixed coil generator. It is also known as a dynamo. So most commonly it's used in bicycles where you have a very small model. I will share that model with you. This is the commonly used form of a dynamo, and you can see the disc at the top. When it rotates, then it is connected through a rod to a magnet which is placed inside the coil. I have the coil at the base, so when the disc rotates, magnetic field rotates in the coil, and I have two outputs here. First is this one, the second is this one. So this dynamo is placed with the wheel of the bicycle, and when the bicycle wheel rotates, it's connected to this disc. This disc is rotated and current is produced. That current we use can be used to run a headlight of the bicycle, which is a smaller version, and it can be used to perform some other decorative work like LED lights, different colors that can be on also, which can be operated with this electricity. So I'm calling this model dynamo a more practical model. That's why it's being used in daily life more because it doesn't have those slip rings and carbon brushes which make the assembly more complex. So that can be used in a very compact mode. You can see that this is a very compact model of a generator. Okay, there is another, you can see how it is being used in a bicycle. This is a dynamo and it can be used against the wheel of the bicycle. So that's what we'll be discussing till here. I guess we have discussed the waveform and how will it be changed if we change the factors. So that will be all for AC generator. Hope you will subscribe to the channel and the video.